Hello, everybody. This is Dr. McGuire checking back in. We have a great session today. Our interview with a airline pilot Brittney. How are you, Brittney?
I'm good. How are you?
Great, thank you. So you and I connected not too long ago through a platform that we will not discuss, but kidding, half kidding. And I was really drawn by what you do and what I saw in all of your adventures. And I think you will be an inspiration to many who watch this, specifically young adults looking for different career paths, right? We can read about it and talk about it, but till we hear it, and we have a few pictures to show as well to our audience. But I won't talk. Let's just go right into it, Brittney. So you're a commercial airline pilot.
I am, yes.
So what does that mean?
So that means that I work for a regional airline in the US. I fly about half the month, if not a little bit less than half of the month. And I get to go to different destinations with different people. And it's a pretty cool adventure. It's a pretty cool life right now.
So that's great. So when did you know, at what age, if at all, did you know that you wanted to be an airline pilot?
So if you ask any of my colleagues, for the most part, they'll say like since I was 4 years old or since I watched Top Gun, and it was a lifelong dream for them. I just got really lucky in high school. Where I went to high school, we had a vocational school where you could go to regular school half the day and then your vocation half the day. So there was like beauty school and firefighting and plumbing and things like that. Well, aviation was one of those options. So I actually got to start working on my degree in high school. I just didn't want to go to school all day, to be honest with you, and it sounded neat. And then once I got there and I realized how like fun and amazing and interesting it was, I was hooked immediately. So I would say at about 16 is when I knew.
At 16, okay. So, God, there's so many things we should talk about. What on a day-to-day, day in, day out, what interests you the most? What excites you when you wake up in the morning?
Oh my gosh, everything. So I think the best part about it is that I genuinely love flying. And that's always going to be like the core of the job. There's a lot of extra things. Sometimes you get unruly passengers. Sometimes you have different negatives throughout the day. But the fact that when we close the door, it's just us focusing on the plane and doing what I love the most. That is what I'm so excited about.
Mm-hmm.
So I enjoy that a lot.
Okay, let's talk about some of the cool places you have been to in terms of destination.
Yeah, so I fly United States, Mexico, Canada, and the Caribbean. So I fly pretty domestically, which I appreciate. I think that everybody says they want to travel, they want to go do stuff, but they can't afford it. But I think you need to start traveling at home first. You need to travel the United States because there is so many amazing things to see. But also at the same time, like I flew to Exuma the other day and it was beautiful down there as well. So I personally like flying into Key West because it's a pretty short runway. It's a lot of fun to get in and out of, and you just get to get a little bit of warm weather in there for a bit. Canada's not my place in the winter, I will say, but in the summer it's pretty cool as well.
Neat. Yes, I love Key West. So if you were talking to a young adult and, without giving them the preaching story of you should do this, you should do that, what kind of conversation would you have with them regarding a career and their outlook? Let's just say they don't know exactly what they want to do, but maybe flying is of interest, right? Just to get their juices going. What kind of conversation would you have with them?
Okay, so I would sit down and let them know it's no small task, but it's definitely worth it. I mean, long term, the payout is great. Our schedules are absolutely phenomenal. I can't believe this is my job still. I mean, there's a lot of plus sides to it, but I would just sit them down and probably tell them to go take a discovery flight first. I would tell them to look up a local airport, and almost any local airport, like a small airport near their home, will have this to where you can go out there, you can pay, I think it's like $100, and you can go up and you can fly a plane around for an hour or so. And
Wow.
you'll get a feel and you'll see if you like it, then that's amazing and great. And sometimes it's not for people. And I think that's exactly where everyone should start, because if you don't like it, at least you found out pretty early on. And if you
Mhm.
love it, then you'll be hooked. So
Are there any mentor programs within the airlines?
yes, kind of. So in my personal airline, when you get hired on, you are set up with a mentor. So they um, just kind of lead you through the beginning steps of what to do. I know at the college I went to, so I'll let you know, I went to Indiana State University. I actually was a senior instructor there, and I set up a mentor program for our students to be aligned with older students along the way, just so they can look up for their next ratings or whatnot. Sorry if you can hear that
That's all
train.
right. It's all right.
Or my dog's howling at the train. But yeah, so I think just on different platforms you can find different mentors. I know I'm on a few different female aviation pages, and they'll set you up with mentors. So I think you just have to seek out those opportunities. And I have mentors through my work where I have about 7 young women who I communicate with once a month or so about if where I work is the place for them, if they want to go somewhere else, which is totally fine with me, and walk them through that process because they're all in college still.
Mhm. Okay, so I guess let's get into the nitty gritty of your job, right? So let's just say you're planning for a flight for
Mhm.
for those interested in this field, right? The traveling is
Yeah.
great, the destinations are great, but when you're getting ready to take off, let's just walk me through the situation. What's the planning? What goes into that as a pilot?
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, you go through a long, long time in flight school. And then, I mean, it's not that long. It can be anywhere from 1 to 4 years. Then you're going to flight instructor, however, you plan to build hours because there's an hour requirement to get to the airline. I liked flight instructing because I liked getting paid to get my hours. Um, and then once you're there, you'll go through your airline's training program, which could be anywhere from like 2 to 4 months. Once you're done with that, you know sorry,
All
you
right.
know everything about the plane. You know the ins and outs. You know, I mean, you just know everything at that point. You can't not. Um, and it's very, very standardized. So when I get into the plane, I have a very specific routine I have to do. I have to go outside. I need to walk around the entire aircraft. I need to check to make sure everything is perfect, everything is safe and looks okay. I go inside. I do the same exact routine. It takes me about like 15 to 20 minutes for typing everything in, verifying things, briefing. And it's so important that this industry is standardized because we fly with different people every single day, that you need to know the next move the other person is going to make immediately. And you can tell if for whatever reason they might be doing it wrong, you can catch that on the spot. So um, yeah, let's just say we push back from the gate. We have rampers, they disconnect us, we'll set up the plane, we'll talk about where we're going to go and what we're going to do. And then we take off, and everything from there is like exactly from our company handbook, and no words for the first 15 minutes will come out of our mouth except for company issued words, if that makes sense.
That's interesting. No dialogue, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Um, so who else do you have to rely on other than what you just mentioned? To have that peace of mind that you're ready to go.
You mean like on an actual day of the flight,
Yeah.
or?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, we have a lot of people we rely on. Oh my gosh. So we have a security team that comes and checks the plane before we even get there. And we're also responsible for checking it as well, but we want as many eyes as possible to seek out any potential danger. After that, we've always had cleaners. This is a different level though. Now we have people come in and spray the plane with some type of, I don't know, it looks like Ghostbuster guns. They come in and spray everything down um, before we're even allowed to get in. And then after that, we have the gate agents who they'll check our badges, make sure we're authorized. They let us down. We have rampers, which are like some of the most unforeseen heroes ever. They're in the rain, in the snow, doing everything like slinging the bags in, pushing us back, doing whatever we need. We're very fortunate for them. Oh my gosh, sorry, there's so many people involved.
Yeah.
The flight attendants are probably one of the most important parts. They are there for safety. I think it's really undervalued what they do. A lot of people just think they get drinks and whatnot, but they're doing head counts, they're going over safety demos, and those are the people you want on your side if something were to ever happen, because they are so well trained and people don't understand how much they go through to get that position. So we work with them very closely. There's of course the captain I fly with. They'll be authority of the flight, which is pretty cool. And yeah, then we talk to air traffic control and dispatch, and those are just long stories in themselves on what they do.
It's fascinating because I have a respect for what you do, and I don't think I could ever do what you do.
Thank you.
Well, yeah, just everybody's is different, of course. But do you ever get butterflies when you take off?
You know, I used to every single time. I've been in my airline job for about 2 years, and I don't know when it quite stopped. I just remember when I would go to take off, I would just always have the biggest smile on my face, like, oh, this is so cool. And I still genuinely do think, wow, this is so cool. I think I've definitely gotten into a routine every day, where I'm used to it. It's not that I don't appreciate it and value it. I just think I'm kind of in my everyday routine at this point. But
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe if I'm doing some type of cool takeoff or something, like if we take off without passengers in the back or whatever, we take off like a rocket. That always gives me like excitement. So that's cool.
That's cool. That's cool. So growing up and or till now, is there anybody who influences you or has influenced you in the past, from a role model perspective? It could be family, it could be political, it could be, somebody that you work with, or nobody.
Yeah. So I don't have anybody in my family that is a pilot, which is weird enough and very strange. I don't know many people who got into this field without knowing somebody like that, but I'm very fortunate for my mother. She, anytime in life I told her I was going to do something, I'd be like, I'm going to be a lawyer. She'd be like, great, have fun. Like, I'm going to do this. Like, I just declare all these crazy things growing up. And she'd be like, yes, like, of course, do it. Like,
That's cool.
there's never doubt in my mind. I didn't know there was not a lot of female pilots growing up. I just assumed, because she's this like very strong woman, I just assumed that there was more than 4% of females in the airlines. So I never knew that barrier was kind of even there, because she just made everything so normalized. Once I got into the industry, I have a few people that I look up to, whether they're old flight instructors or captains I've flown with.
Mhm.
Just people I see and I think, wow, I would like to be like them one day. I really like how much knowledge they have. So
Mhm. Yeah,
it's
that's
pretty.
great. So you're comfortable in your position. You love it. Are there any
Mhm.
goals for Brittney moving forward?
Yeah. Yeah. So I was actually supposed to upgrade and be a captain in January. Oh, it is January. I was supposed to be an upgrade right now. That was my goal. Unfortunately, when COVID happened, a lot of airlines had to furlough pilots and have them off property. I am so fortunate. I work for, in my opinion, the best regional in the United States. And they mitigated it to the point that we didn't have to do any furloughs. So I was just over the moon to keep my job at that point. Um, Things are still slow moving. We're only at 60% of our normal flying, which is better than what it was, where it was like 20%. Um, so I'm going to be patient. I hopefully will look at an upgrade by the end of this year. That's my 2021 goal, is to be a captain by the end of this year. But I learned if I make plans that it never goes right anyway. So I'm just going to be patient and kind of see what happens.
That's great. I'm confident you will get there. Let's talk
Yes.
education for a second. So you briefly reviewed the requirements to be a pilot. Is college required? A four-year degree?
No, it's not actually. And I love, I've seen a couple of your videos and whatnot. I don't think college is always the right route for everybody. And it's not, it's not a requirement, which is really cool. So you can actually just go directly to a flight school instead. And there's flight schools, there's accelerated flight schools where you can get all of your stuff done in 1 year. You can get all of your licenses and ratings in 1 year, which is crazy. And then after that, you'll have to build your time, which takes about a year to 2 years to get to the airlines, because you can't be hired on until 1,000 hours or 1,500 hours. And I'll explain that in a moment. So you can do a really fast-paced program like that. Or what I did is I went to a college, and I did that because I wanted the degrees with it. I think you should give yourself a little bit of wiggle room and a backup in case anything happened to you medically. So I ended up getting two different degrees. I got one in professional aviation and flight technology, and the other one in aviation business management. So if I ever did need any type of backup, I have that there. Um, but because I went to a college, I went to a really, really, you could call it like a strict flight school. Um, the FAA recognizes that, and they let us know that because it is so strict, we can go into the airline sooner. So I was
Mhm.
able to go in at 1,000 hours instead of 1,500 hours, which saved me about half a year to a year of my life, which was pretty
Wow.
cool. But it also was it's supposed to be a 4-year program. I graduated in 3 years.
Awesome.
So take it as you can. But
Well, let me ask you about the training. So, if one's going through the program, I guess you would say the program, what are some of the things that one needs to do to be successful in going that route, right? In terms
yes,
of skills, set skills.
I think the number one core thing before anything else is you have to love it. If you do not love it, you won't make it, and that's the reality of it. It's trying, and it's not hard. Okay, if this is hard to describe. Um it's not like you have to be the smartest person in the world, but you do have to put in the time and energy to want to do it. I wasn't a great high school student. Before I found out aviation was my passion, just didn't care. I didn't have any drive, because I didn't know what I wanted to do. The classes sometimes seemed a little bit silly to me because they weren't what I was interested in. That all changed when I got to college and I found what I loved, and I put like my heart and my soul and my energy in it. And I went from failing classes in high school to graduating top of my class at my college with a 3.97 GPA. So it just is all about finding what you love, and then that's it. Like once you want it enough, then you'll get it. And it does take some mechanical skill and just a hand-eye coordination, things like that. But I think that can all be taught and learned over time.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, let me just piggyback off what you just said a second ago. Kind of. So let's just assume that an individual does not know what they want to do. Do
Yeah.
you encourage or suggest they go to school? And I know it's an opinion, right? It's a wide open question, but what are your thoughts on those interested in who don't know what they want to do? Should they go to school?
Um, such a I guess it depends if they have an idea of what they want to do and if they're feeling motivated to go to school. Because if you go to school just to party, that's a waste of money. And I know a lot of people who took that route who just ended up in a lot of debt without a degree. But if you know you want to pursue something like and you're ready for that next step, I would recommend you go and maybe take 1 semester to kind of explore it, hopefully not longer than that, and then dive into whatever you want to do. So I think that's a really personal thing, but
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Because we always talk about the return on investment, and you answered it perfectly. Not that there's any right or wrong answer, but the return on investment. You're going to put $100,000 out. What's going to be your path, right?
yeah,
You don't know.
it's a lot of money. Yeah. So
So, in terms of again flying every day, um, what does the career path look like for others? So, what in addition to flying, what else can one do within the airlines that may not be the pilot status?
yeah, so I mentioned our flight attendants who are phenomenal. But on the inside of it, oh my gosh, there is so much to it. You will not believe how many departments we have. We have supply chain departments because we have a lot of different things different supplies we need, different things needing to be ordered and shipped, whether it's airplane parts, whether it's masks or sanitary wipes, whatever it is. Like I'm very thankful for that department and how hard they've been working. We have HR. ridiculously important. We have the chief pilot's office where they oversee the pilots and kind of make the rules and discipline. Dispatchers are it's a really, really neat job. I don't think you do not need a college degree to be a dispatcher, but you have to go to a special school for it. I don't plan my flights. I mean, I look over my information, but as an airline pilot, you don't plan your flights. A dispatcher plans them all for you. They give you all your information. They tell you how much fuel you're going to burn. They have it down to a T what's going to happen. They even plan like for bad weather and stuff and where you need to go if that was to happen.
Wow.
I mean, they do it all. They're phenomenal. And that's another job on the ground that you can do. And they just, maybe if you're more into the number side, or if you found out you get maybe airsick or something like that, dispatching is a great job. And I'm really thankful for those people. Oh my gosh, I can't even get into all of our departments. We have a drug testing department. We have training. Our training department is huge. I mean, you're trying to get through a ton of people in a very short amount of time, and it's very impressive. I could go on all day. There's
a lot
so
of
many moving
opportunity,
parts.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm just going on and on. I'm sorry.
That's great. That's great. There was something I was going to ask you that to piggyback off that. So I did a bit on an air traffic controller, the position, right? It was short. Talk to me about that role, if you don't mind, and your communication with that individual or individuals, without going on it too long about it. What is that? Because that seems like a stressful job.
It does. Actually, a majority of my friends are air traffic controllers.
Oh.
I live close to where they all live, and we hang out all the time, and they're great. We communicate with them every day. They give us instructions. We can't do anything unless they tell us we can first. They are the gods of the sky. They are amazing. It does seem like a stressful job, but I know that they are compensated extremely well. It is a competitive program to get in, and sometimes it takes people 5, 6, 7 years to get in. But some people are picked off the street, and it happens a little bit quicker. So a few of my friends were picked up immediately. So you just have to take a few tests and go out to Oklahoma to get that training.
Okay. So what would you say is the most stressful job in the airlines?
I don't know. That's a good question. I'd say air traffic control, probably. They are amazing, and it depends where they're at, but I think you'd be just absolutely shocked if you heard during a non-COVID time, like a New York approach frequency and how fast they're working and organizing and planning.
Right. How many air traffic controllers are typically employed at an airport? I know it's hard to say, probably.
So you have the people in the tower, and those are tower controllers. And then you have people in a totally separate building called center. And they will be basically in a huge dark building controlling people in the actual sky, not just at the airfield. I don't know numbers. I know hundreds of people work at the centers. I would imagine probably like at a big tower, I'd imagine like 20 to 40 people would work there.
Wow. Okay. All right. Let me just share the pictures you sent me. We'll talk about them real quick.
Yes, and if I went on earlier, please feel free to cut out whatever you need. I know I get talking times.
Okay. Can you see that?
Yes.
All right. So talk to me about this picture.
Yeah. So that's the first time I got to fly a small plane. I was 16 years old.
Wow.
That's my best friend. She's actually about to have twins. But I got to go up with an instructor and fly around, and it just really set in for me that I couldn't believe that, number one, like how much I loved it, or number two, that they would pay me one day to do something I love so much. And I'm still kind of in disbelief. So that's young Brittney there on the right.
That's cool. Yeah. All right. And look at this picture.
Yeah. And then
A
that's
great
a big
shot.
difference from the first one.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
One of my captains took it. That's my first day in the airlines, actually. I was excited. I was just as happy as can be to be there. That was the best day, other than my wedding day and maybe one other day. It was the best day of my life. So
That's
it's
great.
pretty cool.
Yeah, you got to make sure you mention your spouse. Right. Yes,
Yeah.
I agree. Um, okay. So, any words of encouragement? Any final thoughts? This has been great. I don't want to hold you up too long. I greatly appreciate it. Um, you know,
Yeah. If you are interested in it, this is the best job in the world. I can't believe I'm paid to do it. And I absolutely 100% think you should pursue it. Um, oh, it's Friday at 11. I'm hearing the siren. Sorry about that. Absolutely pursue it. Go for it. It is the best job. I can't believe I get to wake up and do it every day. And if you even have a little bit of interest, go take that discovery flight because it really would change your life. So,
that's great. Great advice. One last thing, I promise.
yeah.
So many want to know, how do I get involved? And we talked about it, of course, but in terms of everybody wants to know where they can apply, and it's not that easy, right? So where would be step one, right? I
Step
see this interview, I got my juices going. Cool, I want to investigate it. What do I do?
So step one, obviously, after the discovery flight, after you Google your local airport, find what school is right for you, whether it's an accelerated ATP program. That just means one of those 1 year quick schools, whether it's maybe a 4 year degree flight program, which is what I did. Um, do some research, figure out what's the best fit for you. And all of these places love to give tours and love to talk to potential students. So go out there and take the leap of faith. And just go for it. Go see if it's what you love. And if it's not, that's totally okay. But go find a school, and then from there, they'll lead you all the way. I had no idea what I was doing, zero idea. And I was led by a lot of very strong, smart people. So,
Awesome. Great advice. Well, Brittney, Pilot Brittney, I thank you so much for your time. And I just wanted to share with the folks out there that our partner who supports our initiatives, SallyMay.com. So for those interested in looking to go to school and need some funding, just reach out to those folks for some information. Brittney, I would love to catch up with you sometime down the road when you become captain status.
yes, I'm so excited.
Yes, yes. And we will connect for sure.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, Brittney. Just hang tight for 1 second.
Okay.